Guys, welcome back to another episode of the Ike Mma podcast or the Ike Mma show, whichever one you prefer. And I'm rejoined back in the studio with an old friend. In fact, one of my first guests when I was co-hosting with David. This is like more than a year ago now. Dre Miley. Dre, how are you feeling? In fact, I know how you're feeling because you're feeling ecstatic. Like Christmas came early for you last year. You're now gonna be fighting in one of the biggest names on the planet.
Yeah, really stoked about it. Still on cloud nine from it all. So it's crazy.
I said when I saw the post, I was like, okay, this is he spoke about this before and it's happening. I've got to try and get him to speak to you because I know that at some point, and it may happen sooner rather than later. Um, you know, at some point I'm going to be having to speak to your agent or manager to then speak to you. Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes. Um, that's what happens when you're successful, because you have so many people chasing after you for your time and for your talent. That unfortunately, you've got to give that sort of responsibility to someone else to handle for you, if you know what I mean.
right. Yeah,
But look, how you feeling? Good Christmas, good New Year, and how's the family?
everybody's good. Everybody had a good Christmas. Got to see my mom for Christmas. Went down to Houston to see her, and the kids had a good Christmas. They got to hang out with their family and see all their loved ones. And for me, it's just been a busy. Just been
Mm,
busy.
yeah,
There's no rest right now. So
no, I can
still
imagine.
working out and training and teaching and everything. So.
I mean, well, look, I'll take it back to when I saw the post, as in, how did you feel when you was signed up when it was first made official, and you know that it was signed in wet ink? As in, how was that feeling when you first found out?
I was shocked, like I was speechless. I think the best way to explain it is if you saw a ghost. That's exactly how it was. I was like, oh God, can't put it into words how I felt. I was happy, I was excited, I was nervous, but it's part of it. You never think that something that you talked about for a long time actually happens, and it does happen. You never keep wishing, keep pushing, and you're like, man, it might happen. But then when it does happen, you're like, oh, it really did happen. So it was one of those things.
Look, because I listened to the interview you had with my former co-host David Farrell. He kind of said that when you got when it did, like you said, when it did happen, it was like your coach was kind of like your phone was exploding all over the place, and your coach said, "Call me back, call me back the moment you get this message. Call me back." And I think as he was just talking to you and outlining what happened, you kind of was it you were walking out of your gym or so?
So I was just waking up from a nap. Like I had just
Oh,
got done workout, so we came home and rested. We ate, we rested, and then next thing I know, I wake up, I got missed messages and phone calls. I was like, oh, something happened. So when they told me to call, I was like, okay, something weird's going on. So, and that's how it happened. They told me what the deal was, and we just went straight ahead from there.
yeah. Also, but as it looking at you, just speaking to you now, um you wouldn't know that anything this monumental has happened for at least in your own case in the life of a mixed martial arts athlete to be fighting one of the
Mhm.
biggest names on the combat sporting scene. You would know that something so monumental has happened because this is like a massive opportunity to get your name out there.
Mhm. Yeah, I try to not think about it as like a big thing because my coach put it the best way possible. Is like you've not been training to get to this fight. You've been training for the opportunity. Like all those fights have got you ready for the fight. You don't have to train to get ready for Bellator. You're already there. Just now you just gotta put it all together. You just gotta go out there and just do what you do. So I've not been trying to train to get to for this fight or for whatever fight Bellator is the chance to be like, hey, I belong there too. I should be there type thing. So
Has anything changed, as in this sort of thing when people achieve like a certain level of success and whatever they're doing, as in they start making let me say they start making a reshuffle of their team in whatever it may be, as in are you going to change coaches, are you going to change gyms, are you going to change your corner or anything, or is that all going to remain the same?
Oh no, I'm not changing nobody. Everybody helped me get there. I'm not gonna, say deuces and body. Like, no, I'm staying where I'm at. I don't see a purpose in changing gyms. I don't see a purpose in changing coaches because I spent just about my whole life with these guys. I spent 13 years with the team that I'm with, and there's no way that I'm gonna go listen to somebody else, that doesn't know me, that only cares if I'm bringing them a paycheck. These guys are just here. They're my
Mm.
family. They watch my kids grow up. I've helped them with their kids and so on and so forth. So no, I'm not jumping ship. I'm not one of those guys.
Yeah, it's good. No, it's good to see, good to hear that you're one of those. Well, I've kind of known you been acquainted with you for some time. You look like a sort of person that, loyalty does mean a lot to you. It's more than just about money or words, whatever it does. For something as serious as this, you want people in your corner who really do want the best for you.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Exactly.
I do remember, I think, is it the first or second time that I spoke to you on the podcast? Uh, the question did arise about in future, where do you see yourself in the next 5, 6, maybe 10 years? Which of the big promoters do you see yourself fighting in? Now, I think that time is now landed, it's now here. Um, since you're fighting in sorry, no, when you did answer that question, you said Bellator. You did say it was Bellator. You said that you'd rather compete and rather than the UFC, was it not?
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, Still, they're still a very big prominent promoter on the combat sporting scene. Um, is there any extra pressure you feel now that there's going to be more work you have to do in terms of marketability? That is, there's work you have to do in the cage to fight, entertain the fans, to win fights, of course. But likewise in the UFC, you do hear. I have heard of the big story that stuck with me at the back of my mind. There was a case of Colby Covington, and it was said to him directly by UFC officials that doesn't matter if you win or lose this fight. If after this fight, regardless of the outcome, we are going to be cutting you unless if you change your whole demeanor and so on. Do you feel that extra pressure that now you've got to like market yourself in a particular way to get fans to watch your to watch your fights? I don't know what's wrong with me.
No, I don't feel no extra pressure. I've never, at all the 16 fights, I've never been in a boring fight. So my fights are always exciting. They always have you on the edge of your seat. I don't have to do anything. And plus, the whole eye thing kind of works in my favor of being marketed. It's like, it's one of those things like, oh, there's a guy who has one eye. Let's see what's about to happen. Let's see if he's as good as he is. Or people are like, man, he can't possibly do it. There's always going to be a selling point. So I don't have to market myself. I just keep doing what I'm doing. I've been doing it for a while. It just seems natural. So, I can make it entertaining by, doing the silliness because it's not something that I have to force to do it. It's just something that I can do it. My last couple fights, I've been talking to my opponents in the middle of a fight. So it's not one of those things so like I have to force it. I'm talking to my teammates and stuff during sparring. So if I can do that and I'm talking to my opponent during a fight, there's no such thing as, oh, Dre's boring. It's like, no, Dre's pretty entertaining.
Mm.
So if I talking to you and I'm talking to everybody else, there's no way you can say I'm not boring fighter.
I think that's one of the good things about Bellator as well. They really do. Although I understand there's the marketability aspect, because you want as many people as possible to watch your fight, know who you are, and appreciate your talent and how you can entertain the
Mm-hmm.
crowd. But they do, of course, they do look after their fighters in certain terms of pay. I mean, with the UFC, you've got the whole issue now, not just the long-standing argument about fighters' pay, but also now you've got the betting scandal that's come to light with James Krause. And I'm sure this will be one of those cases whereby it will be like a domino effect. After James Krause, there'll be
Mm-hmm.
other people coming, surfacing to the top.
That's what happens when you let money rule your company. That's exactly what happens. You got fighters that are paid, they're saying that they're getting paid peanuts, and they are, but at the same time, they're not doing things to get more money to them. But so you add that gambling thing to it. It's just adding gasoline to that fire. You just keep stoking that fire. And the UFC's looking for the next star, and all they know is that Conor McGregor bug has bit them, and they're like constantly looking for somebody to pull views to be like, oh, look at this person, they're this and they're that. And then when that person loses their shine, they gotta find somebody else. And then they gotta keep finding somebody else, keep finding somebody else. And it's not even about being good anymore. It's about just being, is your style gonna make people sit there and watch? That's all it is. And people don't understand that about Bellator is that Bellator is a fighter promotion. Scott Coker doesn't care if you excel. He wants to see if you are the best. He really wants you to be like, I'm a good fighter. I can sell myself, but at the same time, I'm a fighter at the end of the day. The UFC is more so, can you sell? Yes, you're a good fighter. Yes, we have quote unquote the best fighters, which I think that's up for debate. But the UFC is more so like, hey, how much money can you put in my pockets? Or how much money can I draw from you as much as I can without, doing too much? It's silly. So Bellator is the promotion, for my opinion. Bellator is the promotion for fighters, and the UFC is promotion for businessmen. It's a clout chaser. It's that type of thing. It's for casuals. It's for the casuals. It's not for the hardcore fans that know what's going on. It's for the guys who go to Buffalo Wild Wings or go to Hooters or any kind of sports bar just to watch, see people beat the crap out of each other with no clue what's going on.
You said that earlier that and you're right. You're absolutely right what you said. There are people in the UFC, and not just the UFC, but even in Bellator, that really shouldn't be there. And it's understandable because although they may bring the crowds and the eyes to watch the sport itself, which they're there to do, which they're there to compete in, they're not really that good in it. So I mean, okay, he hasn't fought in a long while, and I think his bout with KSI has just been cancelled, which was a boxing bout. Dylan Dennis,
Mm-hmm.
and I just wonder how he manages to stay so relevant. I checked his record; he's only fought twice. How does that guy manage to stay so relevant? Even Scott Coker said, "Look, whatever fighting he's doing, why can't he do that fighting inside the cage? Why?"
Because what he does is the same thing that Andrew Tate does. He talks and he says things that makes people upset. He says things that gets people riled up. People are like, we have to get after him. We have to talk about him. We have to make him relevant. Because you can just say silly stuff. I mean, Conor McGregor is a prime example. Conor McGregor would just be drunk or be high or whatever you're doing and just say random stuff on Twitter. But he knows that people will automatically retweet it. That's just how you stay relevant. Just say something that makes people be like, I don't think that's right, or I don't agree with that, or you're an idiot. That's all people want to do because people are living vicariously through that person. They're always looking for that person to say something so I can say something back. It's all this is a whole society, the whole culture of clapping back at people and hoping people fail is sickening. But hey, it works for people.
Mm, I agree with that, and to be honest, Conor McGregor, I think many people are now saying they now agree that he is now on the decline. He's made all his money. He has built up that fight record, done what he needs to do. He's made so much money that he's never going to be able to spend it all. What else is there for him
Mm-hmm.
to do? I mean, he might as well retire. The film he's talking about in Hollywood is going to do, we've not seen anything coming out of come out of that yet. But in terms of what you said, on the flip side, and this is a conversation I had recently with another um person who's affiliated closely with mixed martial arts. You know, Mr. McDojo Life, Rob.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He did say that regardless of the sport you're doing, you must be able to know how to market yourself well, so that at the end of your career, you can still have you're still able to look after yourself financially. Now, in in terms of what he said there, would you agree with all the like, for instance, would you agree with the trash talking and stuff that Conor McGregor does and stuff that Dylan Dennis does? You know.
I believe in it if it's going to help you, but and if it's organic, which means that it's actually coming from you as a person.
Hmm.
It's not coming from you as like a fake persona. It's not like Kobe Covington is probably one of the fakest personas there is, and he tell you that because that's what it is. It's a fake persona,
Mm.
but then at the same time, it's like I get why you're doing that. I agree. You have to sell yourself because football players are selling themselves now. Basketball players are selling themselves. Everybody's selling themselves. There's never a time in any kind of sport you're not selling yourself. You're always selling. It's either you're selling or you're buying, and that's the way the world goes. Is the way it's always been. It just sucks that that's how it goes nowadays. This is how that's the nature of the beast, so to speak. So
Mm.
it's I like it. I like trash talking. Again, if it's beneficial, but it's
Mm.
also not forced. Like don't force it. If you can't trash talk, don't force it to happen. So
Speaking of trash talking, you say you like trash talking?
oh yeah, I love it because I grew up doing it. All my cousins and my family members, like we all do it to each other. It's just one of those normal things you grow up in. You grew up in a competitive household. That's just how it goes.
Mm.
You're always looking for it, and that's what you need. You need that extra drive to be like, all right, I gotta get after you now. So yeah, I'm always competitive.
I look forward to seeing that when you start competing in Bellator. But speaking of competing in Bellator, you should have fought in December against is it Lucas Brennan?
Brennan, yeah.
Brennan, excuse me. What happened to that fight?
I don't really know for sure. I just think some paperwork got mixed up, or I don't know. It was something on the commission's part. So
Uh,
that's what I would say.
no, I would have
So
I would have been eager and really look forward to watching that fight. So when I saw it, I was like, okay, well that was a big shame. I've been keen
yeah,
to see it. Um,
I think a lot of people was ready to see it because it was two grapplers going at it, and
mhm.
it was one of those things where my style would actually complement his style, and we would see who is the better grappler. So you'll never know. You'll never know now, unless he drops down to 35, which I don't see him doing that at all because he's a big old boy. So we shall see.
Speaking of weight class, in Bellator itself, I mean, currently at the moment, around which weight, as in where are you weighing at the moment?
Right now, I could make 35 pretty easy. So I would like to be in 35 division because most of those guys are my size, and some of them I'm a little bit bigger than. So I would like to fight at least two of them and get it over with. So I'll always stay at 35. So I could never get higher than that. I would do it, but it would have to be, the risk would have to outweigh it. So the
So
reward have to outweigh the risk.
if you are offered a fight with someone who is in a weight division that's really out there, let's say
Mm,
a good, well, you really got to make some drastic changes to your weight. It would have to be a serious cut or a serious bulk in terms of going up in weight.
mm,
Would that
yeah.
would that change your mind? It's a big money fight.
I mean, as long as it's within realm, I'm not going to fight a 55er because 55ers are cutting from 170, maybe 190. I'd go with 45. I'd do that, or a catch weight at 40 or something like that. I'd even drop down to 30 if I could, but I wouldn't try to hurt myself to do that. So right now, 35 seems to be where it's at. And I like the layout of land of 35. So I would more than happy stay at 35.
So your the first bout wasn't was cancelled. Do you have you heard any news about any other upcoming Bellator events where potentially you may be fasting that? Any news of your next opponent?
No, not really. I've tried to poke in the bear, so to speak, against what do you call it? Cass Bell. I poked at him. I poked at Bates, Jalen Bates. I poked at Horner Lugo. Lugo's. He said he wants to fight, so he's on board. He says yes. and so does Cass Bell. So it's just who Bellator wants it. Who would like if Cass Bell gets it first, and I'm debuting against Cass Bell, and then if Bates runs through or Lugo runs through Bates, then I get one of those two. So either way, it's a win-win for me. I get either of those guys, and I do believe that my skill set beats all three of them.
And even speaking of going over to Bellator, your current contracts, have you thought it out? As in, has it com completely been exhausted?
No, it's still there. They're still holding it, so I still have my 2 fight deal, and we're gonna go from there.
Okay, all right, but
Mhm.
I'm assuming that your current promoter, unlike with the UFC, they're being flexible because I think there's a fight they should have had in December, but it didn't happen. But I'm assuming it must have been flexible for them to allow you to compete in Bellator anyway at that time.
So I could still fight locally if I wanted to.
Okay.
So if there's a chance for me to fight locally, and Bellator is like, I don't know, these 2 cards are full, so possibly April is the next Bellator card I could get on. I could possibly take a fight between then. So yeah, they're pretty lenient about a lot of things. So I just got to make sure that whenever I get that shot at Bellator, I just gotta just put it on the guy and
Okay.
make them be like, okay, we have to sign this guy.
Hmm.
So make it a point. So
At Bellator, are there any particular fighters who you're a fan of already? Because obviously I'm assuming you would have been following their fights. Is there any particular fighter who you're a fan of? Any fighter, in fact, that hopefully one day you will meet them in the cage in terms of a battle fight?
Javion Stotts comes to first mind. I've actually met him when I was just beginning as my pro career. Uh, it wasn't like nothing serious. I think he was with an old teammate of mine. One of my old teammates came down because he moved up to Milwaukee where they was training at Ruthless Sport, and him and Mershart and Stotts and a few of the other guys came down, and my old teammate at the time was like, "Hey, Dre, roll with Hopfield. Like you guys just wrestle." Because like me and the old teammate, we would always go tit for tat, and like sometimes I get the better of them in wrestling. And I was just wrestling with Stotts. That dude didn't let me have anything, and I didn't let him have anything to the best of my ability. But he was a lot bigger than me at the time. I was fighting at 25, so I was a lot smaller than him. So I always watch him, I always root for him. I'm a fan of his. Maybe in the future I could get to face him, but I'm a fan of him. Uh, I'm a fan of Juan Archuleta, and let's see. Who else? Sergio Pettis is another one. He's fun to watch. And then that's pretty much it. Like I really don't. Oh yeah, and, Sabatello, Danny Sabatello, he's pretty good. His style complements his trash talking. I do believe that that's a sincere thing from him.
Hmm.
So, and I've messaged him back and forth. We talked and stuff like that. Wished him luck and so on and so forth. He's always responsive to things. So they're good. It's good people. It's very good people. It's none of that like I'm top dog. You leave me alone. I'm not going to pay attention to you. So,
I'm I am looking forward when now we're in a new year when Bellator will be coming to the UK, and hopefully I'm fingers crossed, I'm praying that you'll be on that card that I'll be having here in London. I'd love to meet you face to face,
yeah,
and
man, I
yeah,
would too.
it will be good to actually have a chat in the flesh. um I did hear from, I can't remember where it was from, probably, yeah, it was the interview with David. Um, does it really happen in the US that they do ask ordinary folk to participate in the fight, whether they have experience or not, and they'll probably ask them to take a dive to lose the fight, or just I don't know, to fight, and they haven't got no experience, so just so that fighter can have a fight, and so the event can still go ahead.
Hmm. They have done that. It's not common over where I'm at because everybody requires you to go through it. But like some states will let you do that. Some they just do. The one that I told him about was the Zion Clark fight, and he fought a guy who was like 0-4. they bent the rules to accommodate Zion, which is good, and I understand that. But at the same time, you've inhibited the other person from playing a game for him playing, his type of game. So, that's mixed matching, and then they do have tough man competitions, stuff like that. It's for promotions to do that. That's just a stain on the. It's just a stain on the entire sport to do that.
For me, that there's a lot of things that's coming out of the sport of mixed martial arts, especially of course of the UFC. Got the judging that's been going on that people are not happy with. You've now got the scandal, and now
Mm-hmm.
I'm also hearing the from you, so from the past interview that you did with David, that there are even cases whereby they do just get an ordinary person off the street and they get them to participate in the fight and have no fighting experience at all. I think the point I'm trying to make is if they've got no fighting experience, isn't there the potential they could seriously be hurt or even be killed if they take a strike or a shot to the head, maybe?
I mean, yeah, it's always a risk, but the thing is that insurance covers a lot of things for those guys, and it's you sign the waiver. That's pretty much putting yourself in someone else's hands. Like, yep, okay, I'm down for it, and it's a bad thing, but you don't see it so much over here on the Tennessee side. But there are some places where they do it. It's sad, but what can you do? What can you say? The UFC has made it to where it's all about money, and people are following that business model because they're trying to get to that level. So you're
Mm,
seeing businesses do that. You're seeing
yeah.
people mix match because they're trying to build up their stars. They're trying to bring in money, and nothing brings up more money than highlight reeling somebody or stuff like that. It's the nature of the beast, man. It's how it goes nowadays. So
Mm. No, it's gotta say it's crazy, really is. But hey, it's you did say that people do sign a written contract or agreement, whatever. So I guess if you're the person without without the experience, then to some degree you must know what you're getting yourself into.
oh yeah, you got to know what you're getting into if you're doing it. I
Mm,
mean, that's just pure negligence if you're not trying to focus on what's going on. Like, oh, these guys have brought me in here. There should be no reason that a guy that has no idea what he's done should be getting into a fight, whether it be amateur or pro. You should not be doing that. So you can
mm,
seriously shorten your lifespan up. You can paralyze yourself. You can do a lot of things. People just need to learn to put their egos to the side and do what's right
yeah.
for their longevity. So
Okay. Before you even were signed up and picked up by Bellator, already you built up a name for yourself. You've got the skill. You're a talented mixed martial artist. Now you're now going to be fighting a big promoter such as Bellator. One thing I wanted to just playing in my mind is that we'll be seeing you yourself now. You've got like a bigger platform, potentially, let's say, starting a podcast.
mm, I don't know about starting a podcast. I don't know about that. I'm not that equipped to do it, and my time is limited. Um, I mean, I'll do like hear videos every now and again, like motivational videos, something like that. But I'm not going to allow that to change who I am as a person. I'm still going to do the same old stuff that I've been doing, still training, still coaching, still teaching, stuff like that. I won't let that affect me at all. So, and again, I'm strong on not letting that change. I'm not going to be somebody that I'm not. I'm not going to do that. So,
Yeah. No, I like that. I like that a lot. But I mean, if you did have your own podcast, because you seem like with the number of times I've spoken with you, you come across someone who's very intelligent and very articulate. You speak well, very clearly. So I thought that on if you did have your own platform where you speak to other fighters and other people affiliated with combat sports, I mean, there's lots of things you could say, and people hear your opinion on it. So I that's why it was playing my mind.
I got you. No, I would do
Okay.
like Instagram, like live
Okay.
videos,
Yeah.
stuff like that, fight breakdowns. But I would never just like do a whole platform and be like, all right, guys, let me talk. let me look. No, I was like, I'll get my point, across, and I'll explain my point of view because sometimes my point of view is not the same to other people's,
Yeah.
and I don't want to do that.
Before I let you go, Dre, and this will not be the last time I speak to you. Is there anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Just my entire gym at Knoxville Martial Arts Academy. All my teammates and all my coaches there. Everybody, my wife, my kids, Beard and Wrestling, guys I'm working with now, you know, they're high school kids, but they don't wrestle like high school kids. They wrestle like grown people. So it's great to be a part of their journey and do
Yeah.
their thing. So other than that, that's pretty much it. And Bellator for giving me that opportunity. I'm waiting for a contract to sign it, and hopefully, Lord willing, we get in there and do our job, and Bellator adds another bantamweight to their ranks, and the two fight deal becomes a multi fight deal, and then I become a mainstay. So it's the end goal of it all, trying to become a household name, so to speak.
Dre Miley, thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. And again, congratulations on the being signed up by Bellator. I look forward to seeing a lot of your fights. A lot of them.
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me on.
Guys, if you did enjoy that, please don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. And you can also catch, if you can't watch on YouTube, you can also listen to the podcast on the audio platforms such as Spotify, iTunes, and Google Podcasts. And there are also a plethora of audio platforms out there as well. Dre, once again, thank you very, very, very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.